Bernie Sanders, a lot of people do believe that he is running, but you have to think about why he hasn't decided to announce it just yet. He will be 89 years old by the time of the end of his next term if he should decide to run.
Right.
And I think a lot of folks, including Romney, even acknowledged age. They're looking at what's going on in the Senate, where you have Dianne Feinstein, who is frail and looking, not so great after a bout with, some illnesses. You're looking at Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's been slowing down. So I think a lot of folks are definitely starting to take that into consideration.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by Congressional reporter Samantha-Jo Roth. Senator Mitt Romney, SJ, had a kind of unexpected or unexpected-ish announcement. What was it?
He decided that he's not going to run in 2024. This was pretty shocking across Capitol Hill. A lot of people expected that he would run again. So this decision, obviously Mitt Romney comes from a very red state.
Sure.
The state, the seat is not in play in any way, but this was just kind of shocking because Senator Romney has been one of the most free-speaking members of the Congress. He voted to impeach former President Trump twice. He's been a frequent Trump critic. So all eyes really have been on a lot of these senators who, have publicly rebuked the former president.
And he was in sort of an unusual position as a freshman senator in that he had a lot more stature than a typical freshman senator would have. I mean, he'd been the 2012 Republican presidential nominee. He was somebody who maybe could come at Trump a little on something approximating an even scale. He'd been a governor of a different state than the one he represented in the Senate. So he got a lot of attention for whenever he would make arguments.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely, while he wasn't somebody who was in Senate leadership or, the top of some of these coveted committee assignments, he was somebody that, people really look to give advice or to be the moderate wing of the Republican Party. And, it is becoming more and more clear that some of these more moderate members of the caucus are fading away. And certainly that has got to be troubling to some Republicans in the party. And Romney really was someone who was more of a moderate.
So Romney's retirement decision has kind of shown a spotlight on the handful of senators remaining who haven't really said one way or the other what they're doing in terms of reelection next year.
Yeah, definitely. So we have, Senator Joe Manchin, who is a West Virginia moderate who is up in a very red state. Republicans really look at the seat as their number one target. They really believe that this is a seat that they will be capable of flipping. So, Democrats are really waiting with bated breath to see if he's going to be the one, if he's going to actually run again, because truly they believe that he is their only option if they were to keep the seat. So he hasn't made a decision one way or another. This is not unlike the West Virginia senator.
Sure.
He loves to delay these kinds of decisions. He knows really well how to manipulate the media. And so this is certainly something that we're going to be waiting on for a while. He also has been someone who has teased whether or not he's going to, become an independent, whether he's going to run for president as a third-party candidate. A lot of my sources say these are just, he likes the attention. So that's sort of why he's doing those things. Unclear if that is the case, but he still has a very big decision to make. And so all eyes are obviously on Joe Manchin. And when you think about Romney, I think another person in my mind is Sinema, who is a close ally of Romney, if not perhaps his biggest ally in the Senate. She has not decided one way or another if she's going to run. That state is full of a lot of surprises. My home state of Arizona. Right now, since she has decided to leave the Democratic Party and go over to becoming an independent, you have Ruben Gallego, who has, made his announcement clear to be the Democratic nominee. Then you also have a bunch of people who are jockeying for a position on the Republican side. We're waiting to see what happens with Carrie Lake, the former gubernatorial candidate who lost in Arizona, who also embraced a lot of Trump's election lies. We also have Blake Masters, who had a previous Senate campaign which failed, against Mark Kelly, and then also the sheriff from I can't remember what city in Arizona, but
Pinal County, I think
yes,
it is.
yeah, Pinal County.
Pinal
And
County.
he is also running, seen as a major underdog, though, because he doesn't have a lot of name recognition. So that's going to be a really important state. I'm hearing mixed signals on that one. Hearing some people telling me Sinema for sure is going to run. I've also started to hear some things about maybe she won't. So they're
Sure.
keeping us, all on our toes. And then another one that we should also watch is Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Bernie Sanders, a lot of people do believe that he is running, but you have to think about why he hasn't decided to announce it just yet. He will be 89 years old by the time of the end of his next term if he should decide to run.
Right.
And I think a lot of folks, including Romney, even acknowledged age. They're looking at what's going on in the Senate, where you have Dianne Feinstein, who is frail and looking, not so great after a bout with, some illnesses. You're looking at Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's been slowing down. So I think a lot of folks are definitely starting to take that into consideration. Maybe that's me projecting a little bit,
sure.
but
You're telling me it's time to retire.
but maybe that's a reason why he's thinking about it. But you also have, on the other hand, he is in charge of a huge committee,
Sure.
labor, all of the issues that he has campaigned on his entire life. And so that has got to be something he's thinking about. But if
He
Democrats
probably has more power and influence than he's ever had.
absolutely, but if Democrats lose their majority, he's back on the back burner. He's not going to be chairman of that committee. So lots of considerations for these
Back
senators.
burner.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to have a lot of power.
He's going to feel the back burner. is what you're
Absolutely.
saying. Thank you, SJ.
Thank you.
You can read Samantha-Jo and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.